Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. This is Bryn. She turned how old yesterday? How old did you turn yesterday?
Three.
3, that's right. So Bryn turned 3 yesterday. So did you have a happy birthday? Yes. Whose dress is that?
Elsa.
Elsa, that's Elsa's dress. So we're super excited. Wanted to get things kicked off on time. This is Bryn. She's going to go hang out with Mom and Sammy. You're going to go hang out with Mom and Sammy and Baby Bean?
No.
No? Are you going to hang with me for the entire broadcast?
Yes.
I guess she's going to hang out with me a bunch. Oh, why don't you go hang out with Mom? She has a treat for you, I'm sure. Okay. See you, Bryn.
Bye.
Bye. I love you. Love you. Bye. All right. Good morning, everybody. So, yes, Sunday morning, hanging out with the kids. It was a good time. Lots to cover today. Like I talked about in the first post, talking about inventory and what we're seeing increase in my area. Sadly, we're not seeing a real inventory increase. It kind of sucks, quite frankly. There is one multifamily deal even available in my market. So yeah, there's nothing available. In fact, I'm literally getting my 3 brokers calling me saying, hey, put something on the market. I'm like, I'm not putting anything in the market. We got an unsolicited offer on a building that we have that I bought 6 months ago from a wholesaler. And I paid $625 from my wholesaler. And it was basically a 5-unit, which is 3 commercial and 2 residentials on top, both 1 bedrooms, and then a 4-unit, actually the 1860 house that I'm redoing. That's the 4-unit. Downtown, they're already subdivided lots. And like I said, I paid $625. I got offered $750 for just the 5-unit. So I'm taking the weekend to mull it over because I don't know what I'm going to decide. Because I could sell it and then basically get the other house for free. And on top of that, I make $100,000. But I'm not sure because we already crushed it on the evaluation of that property. So anyway, we're thinking about it. But yeah, lots of stuff to talk about today. We'll jump in real quick so I don't get too far behind already. But yeah, you guys met Bryn. For those of you who've been watching the channel for some time, she's the one who likes to pop in the most often. But yeah, she turned 3 yesterday. So we had a good, we yard sale as a family. We teach them, don't touch things. We teach them patience. We teach them that just because you go somewhere, you don't get something. And we also teach them when we do find something that we like, that we negotiate the price. I even have Samuel, who's my oldest, who's 4. He'll actually sit there and he'll go, Daddy, we don't need anything on this table. It's the best. Oh, my kids are awesome. They're so much fun. So anyway, let's jump in. Let's see. Good morning. How are you? I want to hear thoughts on housing market inventory. Happy to be here today. Happy to have you, Janet. Good morning. We'll cover that basically the next hour. I mean, the markets are different everywhere. Phoenix, as an example, has doubled. It went from 4,000 to 8,000 units. Everyone's freaking out, or a lot of people are freaking out. The crazy thing is that's the difference between Zillow iBuyers and Open Door iBuyers stopped buying. They've now started selling. But even more so, that's only, I think, a third of what the market should be there. They still only have, I think, 2 months of, or not even 2 months of inventory. So we're still nowhere near norms for inventories. It will continue to climb. But until we start seeing stuff sit, we're not going to start seeing meaningful price drops. When I say meaningful price drops, I don't care what somebody's asking for a property. I care what they get. what they got now, what they get now selling or closing versus what it was last quarter, last year at this same time. These people that have just been working me like a 9 to 5 with the stupid, listen, I don't care what the ask is. I only care what the realized price is. That's all I care about. That's what I'm tracking. I don't care if they asked for $900,000 when it was a $700,000 home. I don't care. I don't care. That basically lays credence to agents that have no idea what they're doing. And there's plenty of those. There's a ton of them. So don't sweat it. Track it in your spreadsheet. That's the one advice that I would give you is track actual sales. Don't sweat pricing. You'll see when you start seeing reductions down to, and when they're selling and it's, it's now, barely above or 4% above where it was a year ago. Those are the numbers that you're really tracking. People put in these list prices. I'm telling you, list price means nothing. It just means nothing. So yeah, we'll go through it today, but we'll talk a lot more about that. Keith Hager, good morning. Good morning. Matt Bittner, did you listen to Lumberjack song? Yes, I did. I actually, what's really funny is when I watched it, I was like, I've so seen this song before. I didn't remember having seen it, but yeah, as soon as he got to the chainsaw part, yes, I was like, oh, I've totally seen this song before. Yeah. Dion talk financial freedom. Hey, morning, Dion. Every day is Saturday. It's good times. Not for us though. Every day isn't Saturday for us. It is for Mike, which is okay. Last night was the first night I got to take Ashley out for her dinner or for her birthday for dinner. Yes. For her birthday, our anniversary coming up, and just finally getting the test results back on Eliana, the little bean, that she's not neutropenic anymore. What that basically means is that she has a high enough white blood cell count where she's not susceptible to everything. So thank you for all your thoughts and prayers, everybody. For those of you who don't know, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer back in September, actually Labor Day weekend last year. My wife and I agreed last night, we're both looking for a far less tumultuous Labor Day this time around. Yeah. So it's been a long, we're going into, 9 months of her treatments. She did 10 cycles of chemotherapy. And now she's doing her last 3 weeks of 3 weeks of radiation, which is every day. So Monday through Friday, every day for the next 3 weeks. So she'll be doing radiation and we should be done the second week of June. But we can start, because she's not neutropenic anymore. She's not susceptible to, crazy illnesses, because her white blood cell counts have returned. So guys, thank you very much for your thoughts and prayers. My family and I appreciate it very much. And yeah, we're excited to be past this part of the season and into the next season, and then really be able to enjoy the summer with my kids. So yeah, lots of good stuff. Vatsal, good morning. Vatsal, happy late birthday. Thank you very much. Yeah, Bryn turned 3 yesterday, so it was a lot of fun. And another girl, actually, her birthday was yesterday too, and they had a bouncy house. So we went to their house for the bouncy house. I don't need to get one if they had one and we're already friends. Why not? Kester Williams, good morning, Matt and everyone. Yes, good morning. Karen Mulder, good morning. She is so cute. Yes, thank you. Yeah, she's hilarious too. She's my personality type. So she's aggressive. Yeah. Anna Kay, good morning. What a cutie. So sweet. Yes, thank you. She'd be asleep before noon had she stayed. Yeah, no kidding. What's really funny is she doesn't take naps. She's a big nighttime sleeper, but not a napper. So yeah, for those of you who want to know about the sleeping habits of my wonderful children. David Yang, good morning, Lumberjack. Good morning, David. Good to have you here. How do you remove pet stains under older carpets so you can restore its beauty? You really can't. You really can't. If they've set in, and so if you have original hardwoods and they've set in and you have that dark tone. If you have that dark tone, you're not going to get that dark tone out. That is actually permanently stained. It's actually gotten in. The only thing that you can do is if you've used hydrogen peroxide 1,000 times. Literally, we've had some floors we've had to do 20 to 30 treatments. Hydrogen peroxide, soak it. For us, what we've done is then it pulls the ammonia up out of the wood, and then you just keep on wiping away, and as you know you're good when your wipe away is clean and clear. You will then need to typically refinish the floor, certainly sand it down. Your stain might be that much lighter, and then you can then stain the floor with like a Minwax stain and then poly it, and then you can at least still have the beautiful original wood floors even though you had to stain them. You can do that. So I've done that a number of times because I bought stuff that had pets and towards the end of someone's life and they didn't take care of their cats, and stain. And so we've seen that before. And then we've been able to just stain it like a richer color. And we've been able to, essentially alleviate that. The only issue is then you have darker hardwood floors. So that is an option. The other thing that you can do too is, depending on where the stain is, depending on what kind of wood it is, you can also cut out those few boards, bring them to somebody that, like a real wood store, or a real flooring store that actually carries wood like that. And you can actually bring them the pieces, not the non-stained part. And then they can usually do a pretty decent job at matching it. So you do have some options there. But yeah, you're not gonna get that out looking right probably ever. So yeah, that's the answer. Matt Bitter, average days on market in my area dropped to 33 in my area. Yeah, so our market has stayed consistently between like 17 and 21 days. It's awful. It's awful. David Yang, for my rentals, I'm getting a lot of six-figure software engineers and techies applying. Economy is good for techies. Yep. Why are people saying doom and gloom for tech? So they do, because a lot of those companies overhire. And so if it's like a big boom area, they overhire aggressively, and then they cut aggressively. They kind of believe in the old Jack Welch GE model, which is you hire, and every year you cut your bottom 10%, you cut your bottom 10%. They kind of believe in that management model. I'm in executive management and I've been in tech for 25 years. So I've been around it a lot. All of my friends that were reps when we got into the business, now most of them are VPs. So I talk to VPs at tech companies all the time. They're friends of mine. So that's usually why it happens. However, again, you can look at it and look at the companies. Look at the companies is a pretty good thing. But yeah, you'll see like there were some pretty significant layoffs, because what ends up transitioning in the market is they go from grow at all costs to grow at all value, which is a completely different model. So when the market's flush with cash, it's grow at all costs, growth, overspend for growth, put a ton of money in the process, even though you're getting less out, grow at any cost. That changes when the economy shifts. So it's a little bit of my other side of my world that I live in. So yeah, that's why the doom and gloom. It's really not that bad. It's better with credit, obviously, multiple jobs. The only thing that ever gets kind of scary is if you had like two people that are both in the same position and they both work for the same company. That can be scary, because then if that company gets hit really hard, then you might be in trouble. They might both be out of a job. So that's one of the ways that you can kind of diversify it for some reason if that comes up. Hopefully that helps, David. Marco Bello. Hey, Marco, I don't think you've asked a question before. Really good to have you here. Greetings from Southwest Florida, Naples. Very good. Market's still on fire, but seeing some last minute price increase in new duplex. Yeah, that's not surprising. They're probably getting some stuff through the supply chain and really realizing that their margins were narrower than they had hoped. They probably have pricing pressure where they can add. So not surprising. That makes sense, actually. Kip Steven, SOS Properties. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Hope the family's doing well. We are. What is the deal with the painter not painting behind the fridge? Yeah, what the hell? Well, so that wasn't a painter. So that's one of my maintenance guys. When we have a paint job, like an entire apartment, we'll bring in my painters, or one of the painting crews. When we have a wall or two, it's not worth the time. We can't, they're too far out. It's not worth the coordination, the pain. It's just not worth it. So we just have one of our maintenance guys do it. This is our lowest level maintenance guy. And it was more than a little bit frustrating seeing that. Just stupid. There's no other way around it. Just stupid. We try and give, so when we hire newer guys, we train them, we try and give them experience. We teach them. And sometimes a lesson just doesn't stick and common sense doesn't work. So yeah, just stupid. And it was because that was the last thing that he did that day. My lead guy didn't stop by to check it. He would have checked it the next day and seen that it wasn't done. But we got a message that night from the tenant saying it wasn't done, which was shocking to us that he didn't leave a note or something, like if he had run out of time. But again, with that little left, like finish it. It's maybe a half hour. Yeah, that guy's not long for the business, that's for sure. Robert Fairdelli. Hello, Matt. No inventory increase in Manchester. Yep, Nashua either. Manchester's still bouncing in the 20 to 30 range. Nashua only one multifamily. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Those, I mean, markets in New Hampshire are just, they are not there. There is no inventory. And even the inventory that's coming on, if it's even somewhat reasonably priced, it's gone. There's a few in two towns that I don't do business in, but I kind of keep a, just a general, I kind of check in every couple of weeks on them. I think there's 2 units for sale there and they're super overpriced. So yeah. David Yang, people have jobs and income to pay rent. I do not get all this doom and gloom. I think hot markets will go down 10% to 20%, but which markets I do not 100% know. Yeah, I mean, if any of us really knew 100%, right, we'd be in there buying, doing the work, trying to figure that stuff out. I think that's where the doom and gloom largely comes from, though, is it's uncertainty. And so you guys will see it. The momentum that we had with everyone fear of missing out going on the upside, the same thing happens on the downside. Now everybody calls for a crisis. Everyone's calling for a recession. All of this stuff will happen. Largely speaking, it's going to happen, but who knows exactly when. My call is for Q1 of 23. It's possible it could accelerate and be in Q4 of 22. It's possible. But I still think it's going to be Q1 of 23. Honestly, we're just stacking cash. We did a bunch of projects over the course of the spring. We have more projects set up to do over the course of the summertime. And then we'll have another 6 or 8 units come online. 7 units. We'll have 7 more units come online right now. And by the end of the summer is the goal. Yeah, that will rent out in the August timeframe. That's what we expect. So yeah, doom and gloom, I don't listen too much. I just evaluate the deals. I think a lot of people get wrapped around the axle about what's going to happen in the economy. Hey, I don't care. If I have a 20% return on capital deal, I don't care what's going to happen in the economy. I just don't. I don't. Maybe it's stupid, but that's how I ran my business before the last crash. But I had no dry powder. The problem that I had last time was I was way too heavily leveraged. And so it was scary because of how literally I had people just stop paying rent. So last time we were just over leveraged. This time we're much less leveraged, tons more capital, like 7 figures plus. I mean, 7 figures more capital than we had last time. So yeah, I'm not concerned about whatever happens this time. David Yang, slow and steady markets will continue to go up. Yeah, I mean, you see stuff like Jonathan Twomley, who talked about New York, upstate New York. Even in 10, 11, and 12, they were still up 1%. You'll find that in steady markets. And largely New Hampshire's mostly a pretty steady market. The areas that got crushed in New Hampshire last time that brought the entire state down were the two major cities, Nashua and Manchester. Those are the ones that really got crushed. Portsmouth didn't really get crushed. Dover was still coming off of the reputation of being called Dirty Dover. And then scummy Somersworth. Like these towns were gross, dirty, majority low income, not saying that they're correlated, just that there wasn't return on capital when you invest in that area. And now those are, completely revamped, and a lot of areas you can't afford to get into anymore, even in those towns. So Tony Carr, 55. Good morning, Lumberjack Landlord. Good morning, Tony. Good to have you. David Yang, that's all. I am talking to techies work for smaller tech companies. Yep. And they are confident about still being employed. They are growing. Yeah. Yeah. The smaller tech companies are less scary because they're usually more measured growth. A lot of times they're bootstrapped, and they're not a bunch of, capital, venture capital money with really aggressive cost targets and super aggressive growth. Like, hey, we need to double the next 3 years every year. So that's a lot of times what you see with those smaller venture companies that have venture cap backing. Robert Finley, OU yard sale too? Yep, we do. It's how last week I got a free DeWalt drill driver. Yep, Orbo sander and some video games by buying stuff to keep and reselling. How I made money in college. Yeah, we do, like, our haul last week was, we spent $196 or $198, and we got about a $1,600 haul. And so that's how I teach my kids. I want them out there negotiating, being wheelers and dealers, being self-sufficient, being functional, being able to have conversations with people, being able to not be rude. Unless it's called for in the negotiation, sometimes you have to be a little bit rude. When they're not responding to kindness. So I love it from my kids. We teach them a ton of stuff. Also being able to be out in the car and driving place to place for 2 or 3 hours. Like, they're 4 and 3 and 1. And so the 1-year-old doesn't really do anything, but the 4 and 3-year-old do. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Love teaching my kids things that are going to make them better people and make them more self-sufficient later on in life. Yeah. RE3. Hey, LL, how's it going? It's going awesome. Thanks for asking. David Yang at Vatzel. Yep, rep from me, I mean, sure. Yep. LV, teach me. Great news. Yes, LV. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Ronald Zion, blessings to you and your family. Thank you very much. LV, teach me. Your daughter and family are in my prayers. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Yeah, we've been super blessed we've literally had over 10,000 people praying for us. So we definitely have always believed in the power of prayer, but now we've even seen it even more. My daughter had an 8% chance of lasting 4 months, and she's on month 9. So we're super blessed. And now just trying to finish the journey and give others hope that miracles do happen. So yeah, very blessed. James Wells just finished year 1 of House Hack. Very cool. Time to buy the forever home, but this market is nuts. Compromised with my wife to add split level AC units instead of buying at top of market. Thoughts? Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, what I would say is, James, I don't know how deep you are into the process, but I wouldn't be looking for your forever home yet. I'd be looking for another house hack. In all honesty, I did it 9 times in 13 years. Never looked back. That's time that it's fine. Not saying you have to do it 9 times in 13 years, but each one that you do, I'm telling you, 10, 15 years from now, you're going to be like, holy cow, like, that's going to be a ton of money. And for most people, it's more than what they end up with in retirement. And it's cash flow. It's cash flow. Something that crypto people don't understand. I know crypto people knock the crap out of me. Go for it. I just believe we're 2 different asset types. There's a ton of tax implications for me that are helpful to me. Write-off, depreciation, all this stuff, income, owning the asset, getting paid to own the asset. That's why I don't compare the two. People that try and compare the two, when I did that video, housing versus crypto, it was to show people that they're really different and that one has nothing to do with the other. And that if you want one in strategy, you don't have to choose either or. You can choose both. I just choose to put a majority of my money in housing because it gives me a better return. It gives me a better net return. And people say, well, Bitcoin was at $3,000 in January 2020. It was. And now it's at $27,000, $28,000. That's awesome. So that's 9x. Awesome return, right? If you sell, but if you sell and you take that 9x, is it going from, let's say you buy again at 27, 28, is it going 9x again in the next 2 years? Bet you it doesn't. 9x, $185,000 or $190,000, 182, right? No, 9, 120, 175, 18, 193. So 193. Is Bitcoin going to be 193 a coin in 2 years? Hey, if it is, you'll crush it again. Congratulations. But yeah, for me, real estate, I think it's a better investment. David Yang, are you getting a lot of workers applying for your tech workers? My area is not a big tech area. It's just not. My area is insurance. So Liberty Mutual has their corporate headquarters where I am. There's some manufacturing. There's a big trade port. There's also a shipyard, a naval shipyard. Yep. So those are the bigger employers where I am. And that's not changing anytime soon. Let's see. Angel R, where do you see your local RE market in 90 days? I'm just going to skip down. Oh no, that's about appliances. Where do I see it in 90 days? I see rates being higher. I see inventory being better. Prices probably even higher than they are today for the stuff that I'm looking at, 2, 3, and 4 small multifamily units. That's where I see it. Short days on market. Hopefully that starts to increase. It just hasn't yet. We're still in that 3-week range. Yeah. So my market, not particularly fun. I think I'm really hoping for a slowdown over the summertime, that we start to see some inventory build. But there's so much cash on the sidelines that people are, anytime multifamily comes up, they're still getting 10, 12, 14% returns on these deals. I just want 20s. So if I can add value, or if I can do an off-market deal, but yeah, I haven't written a deal written an offer in almost 2 months. And so I have nothing closing. I have nothing left to close on. Closed on something 6 weeks ago, but I've got nothing left to close on. Yeah. Yep. That's where I see it. Pallavi Patel, good morning, Lumberjack, and everyone. Good morning. Good morning. RAS Centers, morning, Matt. Hey, good morning. Sending good vibes to your family. Appreciate that. I'm glad I can watch live again. I get Sunday, Monday off now. Oh, very good. Feels great to do the work. Yeah, we put 3K in our savings this month and 52 hours this week. That is awesome. That is awesome. Very, very good. Yeah, very good. REI Centers, do you allow smokers in your units? What kind of smokers? I don't care if they smoke. The only rule is you have to smoke outside. Generally speaking, we have non-smoking units, ones that we know will be impacted if somebody decides to smoke inside. We have one, it's a non-smoking unit. I don't want to have to evict people. And so largely speaking, no, but if everything else on their application is perfection, like a 850 credit score, 5 times rent instead of 3 times rent, if everything else is perfect, then usually there's somebody that respects the rules and they will smoke outside. If they just said, we don't normally rent to smokers because your application is so exceptional, we will make an exception in your case. However, the requirement would be you would have to smoke outside. If that's agreeable, we can move forward. If not, completely understand. Because again, the key there is that if for some reason they do decide to smoke inside, I've got a decent deposit, number one, and number two, they have the means to pay. So I can go back after them if for some reason, the work costs more than that. And the only time that it does, because they actually have, you can scrub the walls, but you can also paint over them and lock in the smell. So then it's not even a thing anymore. It didn't used to be that way with paint, but now it is. Angel R, when you have bought appliances from Lowe's, Home Depot with their installation kit, do they hook up the gas? Do they hook up gas appliances? Do I need my plumber? You're going to need, I think you're going to need your plumber. Let me put it this way. You're going to want your plumber. It's just worth it. It's just worth it. Yeah. like I've done some of my own, but now I don't do any of them anymore just because of liability. Just because of liability. If you kink a line, if there's a small little air bubble, you know, yeah. So not me. Not so yeah, so I had them do it for sure. REI stoners, yeah, that painter was lazy. Yeah, no kidding. That was awful. When the tenant called me and said so, I said, okay. And they were a little bit heated. Fine. I just said, could you just send me a couple of pictures so I can send it on to the lead maintenance guy? He said, sure. So he took the pictures, sends them over, and I was like, you gotta be joking. If you look at the other picture too, not just the one by the fridge, but the other one, the guy literally painted halfway across the wall. He didn't paint the entire wall. It's like, dude, how much you already had the stuff taped? Why didn't you just finish the wall? Like you're talking about 10 more minutes of work. Stupid. I used other curse words when I saw that, but yeah, I was pissed. Because that's just, I have no problem if somebody is doing something and they make a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Laziness burns me. Laziness, you are going to hear it from me big time because that was just laziness. Matt, a few weeks ago, I asked about the reverse offer strategy. I was wondering if there was a planned video for it. Yeah, I did a video. I did a video for it. I was gonna post. I thought I have one posted, but let me find it. That's all. I'm sorry. I knew that I said that I would. I thought I've done one. I don't know why it's not posted, so I just have to find it. Yes, I will get that up for sure. Rylus Dana. Hey, Rylus. So Rylus is one of Mike Zuber's experts. I've actually watched a bunch of your stuff, Rylus. So it's awesome. It's good stuff. I appreciate you. He's an attorney, does all sorts of estate stuff. So definitely worth catching his episodes with Mike, one rental at a time. So Rylus, welcome. Thanks for joining. Jerneel. Morning, Matt. Have you closed on any deals so far this year? Yeah, 5. Yep. Looking at duplex that yield 6%. Okay, average is 4. I've had dry powder now for a few months, but still thinking on waiting for something better. Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, that's where I'm at. I'm just waiting for something better. I'm not in a rush. I think that we're in the unhealthy part of a market where rates are high and prices are high because demand is still there. So I just don't think that I still look in my market every day. I still look at deals all the time. I just haven't really found anything that makes me go, yeah, this is a good deal. Haven't seen that yet. And so for me, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, Jerneel, when you do a deal, you're only going to be able to do that one deal for probably the next 6 to 12 months, right? And you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just making assumptions. For me, I can do 6 deals or 7 deals right now, and I'm still holding back. So I'm not saying that you should do that, but that's my perspective of when I look at my market and based on my situation, I could do 6 deals tomorrow if I wanted to. I just don't like them. They're not very good. I'll hold out. And honestly, if that ends up being just one massive deal that I do, there might be a time at the end of this year, beginning of next, where some landlord just goes, yeah, portfolio, I want out. I'm done. I quit. And then I have enough money to buy his entire portfolio. That's what's really powerful. That's what's really powerful for me. Yeah. So yeah, Les and Heidi Hefner. Hello. Hey guys. Les and Heidi watching from North Carolina. No longer from Las Vegas. Lovely Las Vegas. Keith Hager. If you were to melt down a single nickel today, the metal would be worth approximately almost 8 cents. Yep, it's true. Oh my goodness. I went and I looked at wiring last night because I needed to buy, I buy stuff a lot of times. I'll buy it by the pallet. And then even if I end up having to hold it for a year or two, I don't care because I'm buying it with cash that otherwise would be sitting in the bank that doesn't give me any return. And so I don't mind. I'd rather have it on hand. That way, when somebody goes, okay, we're ready to wire this house on Saturday. Cool. Tell me what product you need. And then I'll have all of the product. I'll put it all together from inventory and drop it off, put it in a lockbox with a lock on it, and boom, they go and do their thing. 14-2 wire is the most common, least expensive wire that's used for usually light switches, lights, things like that. 14-2, a roll of that a little over a year ago was $42 at Lowe's or Home Depot, and now a roll of that is $125. It's tripled. That's ridiculous. But that's commodity prices. What I really feel upset about is I almost bought a pallet last year, a pallet of 14-2 and a pallet of 12-2. And both of those prices are tripled. It would have saved me a fortune on this 1860 project I'm working on. Oh man. Would have saved me a fortune. Riley Stana, focus on your personal economy, which you can actually control. Yeah, for sure. Totally agree with that advice. Yeah. Hey, Cassidy Ironman, it's been a few weeks. I hope you're doing awesome. How would you determine if a market is not worth investing in? Pick a town and there's someone making money there, but some places are much harder than others. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I do. I totally agree with that. I think you want the most opportunity. So one of the things that's great about my markets is that I found markets where, and I did all the work to find markets that, sorry, wife text, Mrs. Lumberjack. So I went through and I found markets. I identified my markets almost 20 years ago, and they've treated me well. There were other markets at that time that I could have gotten into. People were being successful in those markets, but they were also super established. And so, yeah, I think it's, for me, I look at where I live, and then close to where I live is always my process. I don't want to do far distance investing. Even an hour from me sucked. I hated it. Because Manchester, New Hampshire is about an hour from me, about an hour and 10 minutes. I hated it. Oh, it was the worst. The drive, it was like 2 hours. And sometimes it was something stupid. Like I've had to press a button on a GFCI because they didn't understand, or flip a breaker, and then I got people in the area, and that got better, but then even some bigger stuff. And yeah, it wasn't a fit for me. So I look at the town that I'm in, I chart that for 60 or 90 days to kind of get the feel for that area, see what some of those returns are. I think the one area that Mike and I differ is that I know based on tax structure that my state doesn't really support single family home rentals. The returns on capital just aren't there. They're too narrow. So everything that I focus on, I don't even do single family stuff. I look generally, but I don't look hard. I don't look hard at all. Only stuff that starts to really get aged do I look at. Dupes, tries, and quads, I look as soon as they hit the market, because I've bought stuff. I've had offers. I kid you not, I've had an offer in 7 minutes. Thing hit, it popped up on my screen. It had literally just gone live. Call my broker. I said, here's the offer. Let's do it. And he dropped what he was doing, and we wrote the offer, and we literally had the offer done in 7 minutes. That simple. Wicked fast. So yeah, so I think there are places that are much harder than others, but just find that sweet spot. I want to be close. My rule is I want to be within a half-hour drive of any of my rentals. And what's kind of funny is, with that being the rule, it's turned into I'm not further away than 15 minutes from any of my rentals. So if for some reason I go to property management someday, that's cool. It's all kind of centralized. If I don't, I'm still only 15 minutes away. I can pop in the car, jump over. If I can't get my emergency guys on the phone, if something like that happens, I can go over and I can take care of it, which sometimes I rather do anyway. Lesson Heidi Hefner, love the hat. Just left Las Vegas. Awesome. Yeah. This is so TMI, but this is the hat that I wear when my wife goes into labor. It's the one that I wore with my son and both my daughters. So when we have kid number 4, which we will, it'll be this hat again. But yeah, Las Vegas Knights, they're my Western Conference team. I was so bummed they didn't make the playoffs this year. And then my Bruins, grew up as a kid watching them. Cam Neely's my favorite hockey player. When I played hockey, I played like him. Big, rough, bruising, stood in front of the net, took abuse. But yeah, that's hockey. So yeah, glad you like that. This is actually inaugural season too. This is inaugural season hat. Yeah, see the hair. All shaved on the sides, long on the top. So yeah, good times. Yes. Just less Las Vegas. Yeah, I was gonna say it's starting to get hot there now. Really hot. LV teach me. Yes. Start children early of how to conduct business. Yes, absolutely. My children will be productive parts of society, period. End of story. They will be kind to others. They will teach others. And they will be effective and efficient themselves. Dion, I see him retracting messages below. Dion, that doesn't eat me up. I think that's how he's trying to get me back for the whole map gate 2022. But I'll cover that later. It's pretty funny. Don Etherton, good morning, Matt. Hey, good morning, Don. I got to hear Eliana's doing well. Yes, we're very close to finishing that season of our lives, which we are grateful for. Robert Finelli, geez, thanks for the Manchester and Nashua are the ones that crashed hard in 2008. But honestly, the suburbs of the big cities like Hollis, Hudson, and Goffstown have been the biggest appreciators. They have, because people moved out of Manchester and Nashua. So they have been the biggest appreciators for sure. No one wants to live in Manchester. No one wants to live in Nashua. When they want a nice house, they get outside the city, Goffstown, Hudson, they have much larger plots of land. So it's not city living with a big house. It's much more like an acre, acre and a half, 2 acres. So you actually have a decent amount of land in those areas. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's largely the same thing here. You know, Seacoast is a completely different market. Kind of the 7 towns that we have on the Seacoast is a completely different market than the entire rest of the state. It's completely different. You have 10 and $20 million homes on the water in New Hampshire, because New Hampshire only has 17 miles of coastline. And so it basically is, you know, Seabrook, Hampton, Northampton, Rye, Portsmouth, Dover is really kind of, those are all kind of water cities or water towns. And then you can go one in from there, which is like Stratham. It's basically just Stratham and Exeter, really. And then the market starts to shift into more inland stuff, like closer to Manchester. And then when you go north, when you're around Winnipesaukee, Lake Winnipesaukee has, to get on the water there is 1.5 million, and it's a massive lake. I mean, it's millions and millions. I mean, there's the top producers in our state almost always are people that sell homes around Lake Winnipesaukee, because one deal for them can be $5, $10, $15 million. Most people have no idea that real estate is this expensive in New Hampshire, but it's pretty pricey. But yeah, you basically got, you know, 5 or 6 markets, all within a pretty small state that only has 1.2 million, 1.3 million people. But you can have ocean, you can have mountains, you can have city, and you can also have kind of like truly like middle of nowhere, basically right where you start to run up against like Vermont. So yeah. Julie Anderson, beautiful sunny day on the ferry here in Washington State. Very cool. I get money on Tuesday, then it's time to go time. Then it's go time for 3-unit renovations. Yeah. And some big maintenance projects on a couple other rentals. Time management tips. Yes. Make sure that when you're managing that you have a separate spreadsheet for each unit, that you also have a timeline for each unit, and that you're keeping your subs aware 2 weeks before, 1 week before, and then a few days before. That's the biggest thing is if you're expecting a sub or a contractor to keep track of their time and their dates, forget it. Forget it. Waste it. Don't even bother. They're usually really good at their trade. They're usually pretty bad at running a business. Time frames, timelines, communication, usually not good at that. The ones that are very good at that are ones that have project managers, and you're paying for that project manager. They're really much more expensive. So I GC, general contractor, I GC, I don't have a license, but I GC on my own projects. So I bring in all the subs. So I'm constantly updating them. I'm constantly understanding where my materials are, when they're going to be delivered, if they're already there, if there's going to be a delay, and then I might need to pick a different product. So timing is spreadsheet for each unit, what the tasks are for each unit, a general timeline for that. So you're talking to your people and you know that you're reminding them, hey, don't forget 2 weeks, I need you here. Don't forget 2 weeks. Your job is to keep the job going and keep it moving along. That's your job. And that's why I can do a house flip in 30 days. I can do them in 62, depending on how big they are, or 30, depending on how big they are. They can be 60. But the biggest thing that bites you now is supply chain. So materials, making sure your guys know materials are there, making sure they're not ever showing up and there's not all the things that they need there. That's the advice I would give there, Julie. Oh, and did you see affordability is now at, 75%. So the median income in NH is now 75% the income required to buy the median home. Yep. Yeah. It's crashing. Affordability is non-existent here. And we've gone from a $300,000 median priced home to 440. Those single family homes, it's going to be scary. They're not coming on. So I did also see a development just come on where they clearly used new pricing, like new commodity pricing. They're about $350 a foot, not $450 a foot. So that price has come down $100 a foot. Who knows if that'll actually happen, but that's what they're down to when they're trying to pre-sell. LV, teach me. I just told a friend this morning, stock market and crypto will not give you the return of real estate. I see why must have real estate investment in portfolio. Yeah, I mean, again, it's the crypto guys love to argue that their way is the only way. Crypto didn't exist 15 years ago. It didn't. And so it's a brand new market. It's completely brand new. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to 200,000 a coin or zero. I don't know. Here's what I do know. You can't live in a Bitcoin. You can't. You have to have a home to live. And so again, my belief is still real estate. I have crypto. I have NFTs as well. I have both. I don't have a ton of money into them, but I do have some. I have Ether and I have NFTs. Somebody asked me to show my wallet. I'm not showing you anything financial. Dream on. Because I've said how much of my wealth I have in there. I've said 1% a number of times. All you have to do is take that times by 100, and that's what I'm worth. And so not sharing because it's not important. And you can argue crypto all you want. I don't care. Buy a bunch more crypto and don't buy real estate. Fine. I don't want the competition. It's okay. So yeah, crypto, I think largely in some ways has its place. Other people talk about diversify. Do you know that the most successful investors of all time, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, they tell you not to diversify. Charlie Munger says flat out, diversifying is stupid. If you're great at something, keep on being great at that because you'll know all the ins and outs of it. So I'm a little bit in Charlie Munger's camp. He's 97. That dude's awesome. Man, he's cool. Their lunches, like a 2-hour lunch with those guys, sells for like $500,000. Think about that. Whew. I don't think I'll ever have that much dry powder where I can pay $500,000 for 2 people's time. And again, they look at companies and they don't time the market. One of the things he says is, we don't time the market. We buy when we think that there's value there in the company. And sometimes it goes up and sometimes it goes down. But in our holding period, it's usually going to go up. That's the same way I feel about real estate. In my holding period, it's going to go up. Just how much is the question? And do I have to exit in the next 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year? Do I have to exit? So if you have 30-year fixed rate debt, even if rents go flat, which they could after the great appreciation, they could go flat. I'm still fine. The numbers still work great. If they go backwards, I've just never seen rents go backwards in 22 years. I'm not saying it's impossible. I've just never seen it. Now, maybe give back some of the gains because the gains were so fast. Yeah, maybe, but maybe not. So I don't know. I'm not, Mike Zuber from One Until a Time is far more of an economist than I am. But I'm a business guy, just straight business. I look at my numbers. You know, if a deal right now gives me a 21% yield and the market shifts and it gives me 11, how's your bank account treating you? Like still 0.01%. How's your crypto? It's proven to not be a hedge against inflation. It's proven not to be a safe storage of wealth. It's proven not to 90% of the transactions that occur with Bitcoin are non-financial transactions. So think about that. Like, and again, I'm not arguing against Bitcoin. I'm just saying I've done all my research. I feel comfortable not having hundreds of thousands of dollars in crypto. I feel comfortable with that. If other people want to do that. And then when they say people can afford crypto, people can't afford houses. Well, that's just stupid. That just means you aren't doing the work. Of course you can afford a house. If you can buy a $30,000 Bitcoin, you can buy a house. Even if you can buy $500 worth of Bitcoin every month. And you do that for 12 months. I get news for you. You can actually probably buy a house. That's just me, but that's just the facts. Does the higher Angel R, does the higher prices 90 days from now concern you? No, not really. It's the ebbs and flows of a market. It's supply and demand, right? It means that there's still healthier supply than there is demand. And again, I'm not really talking my book. I hope the thing blows up and I get to buy 10 million bucks worth of real estate in the next 2 years, quite frankly. That's what I hope for. But I know the pain that that has on other people. I know what that looks like. It's messy. I lived through it in 08, 9, and 10. Guys, try and find some videos from 08, 09, and 2010. Literally, do your homework. Try and find some videos from back then. It was awful. Everybody was depressed. Everybody was miserable. It was a completely different world. And it took years for people to even pull out of a funk just because they're like, oh, it's going to crash again. Guys, it may. I don't know. I can't tell the future. I just think at this point, based on what I know why it crashed last time, it doesn't feel like it's going to crash this time just based on if it goes down, it's going to go down for different reasons. So anywho, that's my thought. Ralistina, liability wise, it's smart to not work on your properties, especially gas. Yes. Take it from the lawyer. And that's why for me, I don't have my gas license, but legally I am allowed to touch it. But now I don't. And everything that I've touched, I went back. I've either had my plumber go back and check it or whatever it was, redo it. So now I wasn't the last one to touch gas on anything in any of my units. I purposely did that because now it's no longer my issue. And when I say gas, it would be like attaching a line, like it being off, attaching a line and then, turning it on and then, essentially lighting the pilot. So yeah, something that simple. Let's see. And I didn't just cover the whole entire process that it takes to actually get gas going. For those of you who are wondering. Robert Fairley, obviously not a professional painter if they need tape. Yep, sure. They're not. But I want a high quality job. And if a painter's $35 an hour and doesn't need paint and doesn't need tape, and this guy is $18 an hour and does need tape, I know that he can do just as much work in twice the time that other person can do in their time. So it still costs me the same. I just want the same quality job. So yes, I have a process for everything. 22 years in the biz. Don Etherton, have you done anything with reverse 1031? Not yet. Nope, not yet. No, not yet. Chris Brown from Edmund and Wheeler is going to come on the show. And we're going to go through reverse exchanges, general 1031s, reverse 1031s, and then there's two other types of 1031s. So we're going to go through all of those. Guys, give me just 1 second. I want to make sure. What? Hold on. Oh, okay. All good. New tenant signing the lease. LV, teach me. Right on market analysis. Rates are high, values are high. I agree. Eventually will change. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Oh, I'm in danger of getting caught up. DM Talk Financial Freedom. Easy for me to say. It's real estate, not a dating app. Don't wait for something better. Get the great deal. Time on the market matters. Dion, he's not wrong. I mean, there can be that, but 6%, it depends on what your historical was. So yeah, I can see both sides of it, quite frankly. For me, I want great deals, even though I can do a number of them at the same time. I still want great deals. And for me, a 4 to 6, I mean, if I had to equate that to my market, it would be like a 16, maybe a 7, an 18. I don't know. So I see Dion's point. Don't disagree with it. I mean, we always talk about time in the market beats timing the market. And generally speaking, that's true. But I wouldn't have invested in the stock market 60 days ago, 90 days ago. And I've invested, I will probably be buying some stock, in all honesty, with how much some of these major names are off. I will likely probably dip my toe in the water. I've already talked to my financial advisor about it. So yeah. Jernil Diaz, thanks, Matt. Yes, you are correct that if I did the deal, it would only be the one for a while. We'll continue to do the work and wait for an amazing deal. Yeah, I mean, if you can, here's the thing, what I would tell you, Jernil, is write what would make that a great deal and see if you can get it. That's what I would tell you. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. And I've been shocked a couple of times where I was like, they took that number? Really? I was expecting for heavy back and forth, and we didn't get it sometimes. Or we did a deal where they wrote back a number and it was just like so small. I was like, okay. I mean, I even told my broker, Jay, I was like, okay, we'll do that deal. Like, I think it was like 1% more than what we offered. So I was like, fine, whatever. I'm not going to walk for one. And they might have known, and they probably were gambling on that I wouldn't. And they were right. For 1%, I wasn't going to walk. For 3 or 4, I would have, and would have kept on going. David Yang, I'm thinking money laundering from outside the US. I don't recommend that. David Yang, someone paid $690K to rent out at 3100 in Portland Metro. Possibly. Yeah. I mean, when something gets hot, people find inefficiencies in the system to try and leverage and create wealth, legal or illegal. Yeah. Matt Bittner, have you looked at appreciation on your properties? I'm seeing 25% appreciation in my area. Yeah. Yep. So we just refied 10 properties in February or March. And 25% over what time, right? So it's not just what's your appreciation over what time, probably the last 12 months for you, right? But for me, yeah, it was, I had one property that I paid 180 for it. It was a massive project, and I admittedly overspent. I wanted to turn them. It was 4 side-by-sides. And I turned it into probably the nicest set of units in that town. It's a smaller town, but went super high end, and they're condos basically downtown, or condo quality. So I bought it for 180. I think I put 240 into it, maybe 240, 260. So call it like 450 all in. That building 5 years later just appraised for 1.2 million. I wouldn't have gotten that number had I not over improved it, but I over improved it and my rents are crushing. Like my rents are just phenomenal. Although that was one of the ones that I had to apologize to Mike. I'm gonna have to take back my apology because we've had 3 tenants that passed the initial approval. And then upon walking it, liking it, and finishing the rest of the app, had something that we had to go, what? That wasn't disclosed. So yeah, but we haven't lowered the price on that. We actually keep on getting flagged for the price being too low. We literally had to raise the price so we could stop getting flagged. Like, people are dumb. Do the work. Like, if you're not a landlord, you have no idea what it's going for. And if you're a renter, okay, if you like it, come see it. Apply and come see it. We'll show you that it's not fake. Come see it. Oh, LV teach me great tips on how to manage projects. I have learned the hard way, but know now. Awesome. Good for you. Yeah, so I manage 115 units, 117, sorry. Well, 115 because the other two aren't on yet. They're not on board yet. Meaning that they're not active rentals. So yeah, you have to be organized. That's the only way that you can manage growth. The other thing for me is that when we added so many units last year, we are still unburying ourselves. That's the crazier part. I mean, yeah, we added like 50 units, 40 units over a like 9-month, 10-month time frame. And so we're just trying to unbury, to be honest. And getting familiar with those new tenants, getting familiar with the buildings, making sure we get through issues, etc., and then upgrade as we go through. Cassidy Ironman, duplex in California qualifies for low down payments with owner occupied. Yep, tries and quads require 20 to 25% down. Yeah, so duplex rules follow that of like a residential single family mortgage. Tries and quads are different. Yep, because then at that point, largely like Fannie, Freddie, when they go to resell that, they know that you're depending on other people to help you make your mortgage payment. So yeah, yep, for sure. That's a big jump for me. Are there ways to get in for a lower with a non-motivated seller, motivated only? So you could do like the 50-40-10 strategy, like Mike's been talking about on his channel, and Dion's working on one of his deals on, which is a 50% mortgage, 40% the owner takes the mortgage, 40% of the mortgage, and then you come down with 10%. But outside of that, there is talk. I would talk to a bunch of mortgage brokers. I would go do the research. There are links online to where the current administration is pushing multifamily ownership. So I believe that there are some plans. They've either come out or they're coming out that actually talk about 5 and 10% down, but you've got to do the homework and then you got to shop for the mortgage broker. And then when you've done the homework, you can then call them up and say, hey, this is what I read, this place, it is an FHA program. Is that available through you guys? That's how you then eventually find the person that's doing those kinds of loans. And that's how you then find it. So it's going to be work, but it's work well worth doing because you'll probably put yourself in a pretty strong spot. So I would try that for sure. Matt Bittner, the 77051 area is one of the garbage to gold areas in my area. Bittner, where is that? I don't know what market that's in, but yeah, probably. I mean, so we have the same thing. The funny thing is with like Dover, that's one zip. So this is the one mistake or not mistake, but the one thing that I love about Mike's market that I don't have in my market, if we're going to have market envy. One of the things that I love about Mike's market is the volume of listings. He's got tons of listings to choose from. So he can always be writing offers. The returns at first glance, I'm not saying this is the case across the board, but largely speaking, the returns in that area are slightly less than the returns in my area. My area is definitely more niche. He's got 1 million people in Fresno. I've got 1.2 million people in my state. A little bit of a difference. My areas are 30,000 people, 20,000 people, and 5,000 people. 30, 20, and 5. Those are the 3 towns that I work in. 30, 20, and 5. That's 55,000. His market is 20 times the size of my market. 18. So significant. But that's one of the things I love about his market that my market sucks. It's not big. So I'm very niche. Even in a healthy market, in my market, I'm looking at maybe 8, 10, 12 to choose from. Never, ever, ever dozens upon dozens, except for back in the crash in 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that's kind of how that worked. Yeah. LV, teach me, for project renovation, do you think it's best to purchase and receive materials and supplies before giving the go for a sub to start work, given today's supply chain? Yes, absolutely. Yep, I do. Yes, I 100% do. That's the way I do it. I just have to. I have to. I got burned on Windows. Windows burned me for 3 months. 3 months. And that was the fastest. One guy actually quoted me 4.5 months. Like, dude, seriously? I'm going to hold this property for 4.5 months? And the problem is because of the way the deal was structured, I really didn't know 100% we were going to close. If I knew we were going to close or I was buying the thing for cash, I would have bought all the material. But I wasn't 100% we were going to close. So I had to wait until we closed. And then literally the next day I placed the order. And then I waited for 3.5 months or 107 days or 117 before they could be delivered, 107 before they were in the game. Let's see. Charlie Munger said cryptos are like a venereal disease. Yeah, I'm not sure they're that bad. Wouldn't know firsthand. But yeah, I mean, I get it. Some people think that market's just all smoke and mirrors. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not smart enough to be able to tell you that it is or it isn't. I've got some. If it blows up, fine. If it doesn't blow up, I've got some. So yeah, not the worst for me. Let's see. The Rue Life International Show. My friend introduced me to you. Cool. How do I get started in real estate investing? The most important thing is I think that you should read Mike Zuber's book, One Rental at a Time. I would read that first. I always tell people to start there. Hold on one second. Whew, it's expensive. Tree quote. That's pricey. So I would always start off with one rental at a time. Sorry, guys. If you ever see me look down at my phone, it's because I have contractors working today. Side hustlers. I love them. I'm one. I expect the same of the guys that want to work with me. And so I'll always look down at my phone because a lot of times I'll have messages from people trying to do X, Y, or Z. And I want to make sure I keep them busy. Mr. Wright. Yes, I did that. And I am going to bankrupt everyone again. 2000. I work in banking. I'm going to minus 75% in real estate. Okay. Bigger bubble, the bigger pop. It's not a bubble. Anybody that thinks it's a bubble doesn't do math. Goes with the beast of greed and money for each their own. Bankruptcy lawyers end up making more money, start selling attorney referral service. Subprime bonds already 13%. Okay. Don't invest in real estate. People need places to live, my man. And at the end of the day, investors are going to be the ones buying those properties and renting them out. If unemployment goes to 10%, 15%, 85% of people still have jobs. So will there be difficult times? Yeah, sure. Is it going to be as bad as the last one? No, it isn't. Just isn't. Debt structure isn't there. And the volume of loans isn't there. So I don't know what bank you work at, but it's kind of simple math as far as I'm concerned. And again, don't buy real estate. Keep it in cash in your bank, making 0.0125%, and then lending out 10x based on that 0.0125%. It's all good. David Yang, I missed your message from before. What was the message that I missed from before? Repost it, David Yang. 2008 forward was terrible for the world. Yeah, 2008 was awful. Yeah, brutal. It was brutal. I almost lost it all a few times just because I had no capital. I had no capital. I was newer in the business. And I bought in 2 transition neighborhoods, and those transition neighborhoods flipped on their backs. And yeah, I didn't have enough capital to keep it going the right way. And so it was a stressful time. I fully leveraged credit cards and things like that, but I made it through, learned some lessons in that. I wanted to be better capitalized. And so I'm better capitalized. So yeah, we have that money sitting there now. And if it happens, it happens. We'll be ready for it. We will be ready for it. Let's see. Yeah, David, re-ask the question and I will answer it. Robert Fairnelly, hard to see rents going down in NH. Yeah, agreed. Looking back at records, NH has always had very low vacancy. Yes. If vacancy goes up a lot, prices go down for rentals. Yep. I don't see that happening. Yeah. I mean, unemployment in New Hampshire is, I think, in the 2% area. There's a ton of jobs that, there's a ton of jobs out there that can't find the skilled workers. And that's where I think even a lot of the unemployment comes from, is people trying to get hired for jobs that they're not qualified for. And I mean, that largely follows the national strategy as well. And so, yeah, NH has always done pretty well. The worst that it got for NH, I think the worst areas, or the worst for the state, was, I think, overall down 30%, but a majority of that was Manchester and Nashua. A lot of the other state wasn't down nearly that much. They just weren't. But yeah, I mean, who knows? We'll wait, we'll see. But again, my belief is, I still continue to look at deals, buy deals. How many applications do I need per unit and they see the price of the unit when they apply? How many applications do I need per unit to feel unsafe? Probably a couple responses a week I wouldn't feel safe with. Right now we're averaging 40 applications per unit in 24 hours. And that was after raising 20 and 25 and 30%. It's just math. Again, it's just math. And I don't see the corporate structure. Mr. Wright, I'd love it if you would chime in on where you believe this collapse is coming from, because I truly want to understand from a banker's perspective where you believe it's coming from. Because I just don't see it in the practice of what I do on a daily basis, but maybe. Andrew Pete, running around today, but we'll watch the live later. Always good. Thanks as always, Matt. You're very welcome. Question for you. Do you know if the 50-40-10 could work for owner OC? It's making me reconsider my VHCOL for house hack. It could be. It could be. I always run the numbers, I would think that an owner OC, I would think that a seller would probably like that more, because now you're living there. So possibly. I know if I were the lender on it, I would probably, I don't know how I would feel about that. I don't know if you would then have like homestead rights, where it would then turn it into a residential mortgage instead of a commercial mortgage, where you could then walk away, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know honestly how that would work. So hard saying. Real career young money. I love that. I remember. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I remember your name. Real career young money. I love it. At what equity level are you looking at cash out refi in this market? 70%, but only have a 4% rate. I can probably get a 13 to 15% rate of return on my market. Thoughts? So I cashed out. So again, I cashed out when I could get 70% loan to value, but my rates were 30-year fixed rate at 4%. But also they still gave me double-digit return. In fact, still over 20% returns on my rents. So you asked the perfect question. It's all three pieces. It's what's my return? How much cash can I pull out? And then is it 30-year fixed rate debt? Those are all the right questions asked. Well done. That's what I look at, because it wasn't just one, it's just not just one piece for me. It has to be everything. Excuse me, guys, just 1 second. I'm gonna get this off so it stops updating. So yeah, you're asking all the right questions. So the only reason I refied 20 something, 21, 22 properties, the only reason I refied those was because I got 30-year fixed rate debt right around 4%, between 4 and 4 1/8, and a 70% loan to value. Let's just say the market goes down 20%. Okay. All the fees that go along with selling usually run between 6 and 8%. So if the market goes down 20%, if then I needed to sell, I could. If then I also would actually get some money at closing, but I certainly wouldn't be writing a check at closing. But again, if those properties are still making money, why would I do that? The only reason I would do that is if I had some property that had a ton of capital in it, and then I would just work with one of the banks that I already have a multi-million-dollar relationship with and have that conversation with them and say, hey, let's come up with something here. I get the position. I remember it wasn't that long ago. I remember the position I was in 9, 10, 11, 12. I didn't have the ability to do that. I was the house was now under the value of what I paid for it. So I couldn't refi out. 70% loan to value wouldn't have done any good for me. And I didn't own the property long enough to get a cash out. So in this particular market, one of the things you have to remember is if you bought a house in the last 6 months, you likely have enough appreciation to be able to sell it and not have to write a check. Think about that. Just owning a house for 6 months, if something drastic happened, that's what will shift and change. That's what you'll see shift and change the most, for sure. Hopefully that answered your question, real career young man. But if it didn't, let me know. All right, listeners, I keep hearing we need to have 6 months of reserves. Would you suggest more? It really depends on your risk tolerance. It depends on too many things for me to answer kind of generally speaking. I always say the number that you want to have in reserves is the one where you feel comfortable and you can sleep at night. It's not very scientific, but it's helped guide me through my career. So being able to kind of rest back and say, okay, we've got enough reserves that if, the way that we look at it is we kind of balance it where we look at our overall portfolio. And if unemployment went to 15% and 85% of people are still working, then we would be trying to make arrangements probably with at least 15%, probably more, because a certain number of those people are also going to own homes and houses. But if we look at the numbers, I'm probably at least accounting for at least 15% of my tenants needing to make some arrangement to pay rent. So then we just start working with them as soon as we possibly can. If 15% of my tenants stopped paying rent, I can still make my nut, no problem. So those are some of the numbers that you need to kind of back in yourself, because that's a number that differs for everybody. And a lot of times that really solely depends on time in the market. That's why time in the market is so good. So yes, hopefully that helps. All-nighter hider. Hey, good morning. I wonder where you were. I just got a notification for yesterday's video. Just watched that one here now. Oh, cool. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with notifications. Maybe YouTube doesn't want greatness out there. I don't know. Because I know the same thing happened to Mike and to Dion. That's why I made that joke. Robert Farinelli, even in Manchester, Nashua, I don't see rents decreasing. Yeah, I don't think, certainly not now. I mean, how do you decrease the rent when you've got 40 people that applied? How? If all 40 don't apply, we have a bigger problem, but qualify. We have plenty of those. And so usually it's our pick of the litter. And that's why for us, it was kind of like we went to the one, but then they took too many days kind of getting their act together. And then we went to the next one, and then we found something on them. It was just like, nah, we can hold out. It's fine. And then by the time we get to the third one, we started coming into people that we liked that had found another place because they were trying that hard to find a place. So totally fine. So we're doing another open house. I think today. I think we're putting another 8 or 10 people through there today. And we'll see what we get. We'll see what we get today. So yeah. Yiko. Hi again. Hi. I'm thinking of taking out a HELOC and holding on to it until I find the best opportunity. Is that a good idea? So I can't tell you if it's a good idea for you because I don't know all the rest of your financial situation. I can tell you I did that in my time. Here's what I can tell you. When the crash happened and literally banks started shutting off HELOCs. And then it instantly brings you to 100% utilization. So I had a $75,000 HELOC. I think I'd spent 50 or 60,000 bucks of that. They sent a letter in the mail saying, hey, we're shutting it off. And literally it was shut off. I couldn't get any more money out. It was off. That took me to 100% utilization of that credit line, hurt my credit because it was utilized credit. And so the only thing that I've seen, the strategy is it costs you money, right? But it depends on how big the opportunity is or how big you believe the opportunity is. It costs you money. You can get a HELOC and then pull it all out and then they can't call it. But then you're paying interest every single month on money that you might not be using. So those are the things just to consider when you're pulling a HELOC against your own property. LV teach me being better capitalized is crucial. Yep. I think about that. What happened to others who were over leveraged during 08. Yep. It's the reason why I decided not to cash refi my payoff rental property. Yep. I just like having at least one rental free and clear. Maybe it's because I had a foreclosure in the last down market. Yeah, I get it. And so I think LV brings up a great point. I think she brings I think that's she. I can't really see the picture that well, so I apologize. But I think they bring up a very good point where you get scars from what you go through before. For me, I don't have any that are paid off. I have some that are kind of close or close enough and have tons of equity in them. But again, it changes for me because I've got such a big cash machine engine creating cash for me every single month. And so I do agree with what's being said there. So you can keep one paid off. I think Zuber actually, I think he doesn't have any that are free and clear anymore. I think that he said he leveraged his, but just with like 50% because it made sense for him. So to each their own. I don't really, each of those strategies is usually based on how comfortable somebody feels at night. You don't want to lose sleep. You do want to feel rested. You do want to be like, ugh. And so I do agree with what gets you to the point where you can be at ease about that, I think is what's key and critical. Yeah. Jeremy Kirkwood. Hey, Matt. Hey, joining a bit late. Happy Sunday. Current small multifamily quad interest rate with non-QM is 6.75. Nice. Sharpening the seller financing sword. Yeah, good idea. 6.75. Hot damn. That's high. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Robert Farinelli, if housing remains tight, which I think it would be, I believe Zuper is correct about lockup housing market for a couple of years. Housing stock in the suburbs and NH will be low, so people will be renting. I agree. I think that's going to happen to a lot of the move up buyers. But I mean, we've been talking about that for like a year, which is if all this stuff comes true, if all this stuff happens, it's going to be dicey. It's going to be bad because you're going to kill two birds or three birds with one stone. The buyer being able to buy the entry level because the person that needs to sell that entry level is going to give up a 2.5 or a 3.0 rate that they can't get on the new property, plus the pricing appreciation of where that new property is. Even if it's come down 20%, it's still up 30% over where it was. So I agree. That's, we've been talking about that for about a year, so I don't disagree. Janelle Diaz, for 50, 40, 10, is it possible to do that with less than 10% down? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you wanted to, I mean, I would talk. So what you have to find first is you have to find the product first. So knowing that they're putting a 54, so this is velocity, knowing that they're doing a 50, 40, 10 or convoy, any of these other non-QM lenders, I would start with velocity and work your way back from there. But if they're willing to do a 50-40-10, do they have another product? Do they have a 45, a 45-45-10 or 5, 45-45-10, still catch in the same place, but a different mix. I don't know. I haven't ventured anything with those guys yet. I did talk to Steve. We were going to do a few properties, but then my bank put together just the ridiculousest of ridiculousest packages for me. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful to you guys. You guys did an amazing job for me as a customer and a client. So I'm greatly appreciative. And yeah, I had no reason to go non-QM based on what they were able to put together. Yiko. How about taking out a HELOC to invest in the stock market, such as Amazon? Amazon stock goes about 36% since the last 6 months. Maybe an opportunity to rise again. Oh, no, I don't do any of that stuff. You'd have to consult a financial advisor because I don't even in myself really invest in the stock market. So that would not be something I would ever weigh in on. Beth Bittner, do you have Section 8 rentals? Are you required to provide appliances? Landlords in my area doing non-Section 8 can get away with not providing some appliances. I do Section 8s. They do require appliances. I think it's dumb to not put appliances in. The reason why I think it's dumb not to is because they're going to pick the cheapest ones that are energy hogs. And a lot of times you're paying for energy there already. Or you're just putting them in a bad spot where they buy it, then they see the energy crazy prices, and then they're not paying their rent because they have to pay their electric bill and keep the heat on or keep that stuff on. So I'd rather just keep my appliances in there. I own over 500 appliances, so I'll keep it that way. Yeah, I'm not letting tenants pick appliances. Washer and dryer especially. Most landlords pay water and sewer. Those cheap washers will go through 3 or 4x the amount of water. You want to pay 3 or 4x water bill? Trust me, you will be far better off putting a machine in there where you then just stipulate in the lease, I'm leaving them there for your use. And if something breaks on it, you have to fix it. Because then if they do break something, then they have to pay for it. Or you pay for it and take another security at the end of the deal. It's up to you. Chris Miller. Hey, Chris, checking in to see how your daughter's doing. She's doing great. Starts radiation tomorrow. She's finished chemo. So yeah, we start that tomorrow. Chris Miller. I'm also renting out one of my units. Do you have your prospects apply and accept their application prior to giving them a showing? If not, what's your process like? My process is proprietary. Here's the one tip I will give you. I don't make them fill out an entire application before they come see it. I do ask for 3 things. Just those 3 things. I ask for credit score. I ask for proof of payment to their last landlord for 3 months. And I ask for pay stubs. Those are the things that I ask for to get them in the door, because the likelihood that those 3 things are good and the rest of the app is bad is very slim. We did have that happen in the last week. And so we just let them know you don't with the rest of the items on there, you don't qualify. That's how we do it. I'm also, let's see, Rich Bujo. Hey, Rich, howdy back at you. That's Dion's thing. Chris Miller, correction, doing a tenant turnover. Yes. Yeah. So that's what my process is. Yiko, awesome, thanks. You're welcome. Yeah, sorry I couldn't give you advice on the whole getting a HELOC and putting it in the market thing. That scares the crap out of me. I would never do that. I would do it with real estate because I understand real estate inside and out. And I knew what my return on that capital was going to be, largely speaking. So I could always pay the HELOC off and have it cost me the, $200-300 a month. And at the end of the year, if I still found nothing, I can just throw the $2,500. It cost me, opportunity cost was $2,500. And again, that's not a little bit of money, but sometimes opportunity, there's a cost opportunity. So LV teach me. Yes, a lady. Cool. You're one of the 14% that watch my channel. They're like 86% males, 14% the ladies. So I wonder if that's a me thing or a market thing. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, just one of those things I think is interesting. BDC Sanchez, my small market just got listed as one of the top 25 overvalued in real estate. Okay. Sorry, I got a text. Yes. That was Zuber. He was asking me a question. I was like, why aren't you on my live stream? Still worth investing in it. I can never make individual market calls unless it's my market because I don't know your market. So I think there's a lot of times those things come out. So garbage in, garbage out, right? Algorithms, AI, artificial intelligence. I know all about that stuff. I actually work in that industry. And so what's really funny is that based on artificial intelligence, that's what cost Zillow $500 million, artificial intelligence. Yep. Yep. A lot of these companies that use AI don't really understand fully how to use it yet, and it's kicking them in the butt. They're buying a lot more than they should have bought. They're buying with improper assumptions because they say, hey, we have AI make the decision for us. AI goes back and looks because what do? AI aggregates it. The data is then aggregated. Once the data is then aggregated, it's then searched to find trends. One of the trends that they found in the Phoenix real estate market was that properties went up 25% a year and that rents went up 10%. That's what happened, or 15% in the last year. So guess what they built in their model? Next year that it would go up 25% and 10%. The next year it would go up 25% and 10%. Is that flawed? Yeah, of course it's flawed. Because what they should have looked at was 20 years of data. But then they have to put in all the other variables to what's actually going on in today's market to have a correct data set in order for AI to comb through it. So that's why, largely speaking, I think AI obviously has a future, but it's only as smart as the areas that are being watched. It's a different thing when it's being used for like medical care, where I'm in, because you can look at drugs, results, and all of the varying factors of a given patient. When you have something like what we're talking about, there's so many variables to it that many cannot be accounted for. And that's what continues to give people bad models. Open Door, Zillow. There's a bunch of companies out there that have gotten crushed because of bad AI. So, ta-da, AI. Who would have thought I'd talk about AI today? Not me. Whatever I just said about AI upset 10 people. Anywho. So BDC, I can't tell you. You have to do the research. You have to really understand in order to be able to, and tell me what market that is. But yeah, you'd have to really understand your market, and then that will answer your question for you. Todd Grin Hargett. Hi. What is up, Lumberjack Landlord? Wondering if you're doing anything with short-term rentals. Great question. I am not. I'm not doing anything with short-term rentals. Sorry, I missed Yico's message. So no, I don't do anything Airbnb. What is your end goal? Are you going to keep on purchasing property? Are you going to keep paying off your mortgages as part of your retirement plan, or continue paying normal monthly mortgages? I don't know. Truly, Mike and I talk about this all the time. Dion too. I think Dion's going to stop at 10. I think he said that. Mike and I talk about it all the time. His portfolio is a lot bigger than mine. He's a few years older than I am. We started about the same time. So yeah, kind of TBD. Don't really know. I don't have anything hard and set as that. Yeah. Yeah. But great question. I would probably, I have kids. I know that I don't think Zuber's going to pass off his stuff. And for me, our kids will work starting at the age of about 12 or 13 in the business. They'll be around it, but they'll actually start working at 12 or 13 in the business. And then we'll see if one of them has an affinity for it. They're good at it. Then we'll just kind of chart it from there. But right now it's just about buying great deals. So if it's not a great deal, I won't buy it. If there's opportunity, I'll execute on it. But yeah, that's the most I can tell you right now. Paying down monthly mortgages. No, I won't accelerate any of that stuff. It's 4% fixed rate debt. Why would I? Like, I don't see the need to quickly get that stuff off the balance sheet, especially with the cost of debt there. Because if I get new debt, it's going to be much more expensive and it's going to absolutely lower my margin. So yeah. Don Etherton. Steve said any combination as long as you have 10% of the deal. Okay, so that's the minimum. You gotta have 10%. LLC versus LLC serious for rental properties. Dion's got a great video on it for LLCs. I don't do an LLC for my properties. They're in a trust. Eco. Jeremy Kirkwood. I agree. My buy box was 4.3 to 5.3, 2,500 to 3,500 square feet, single family home 3 years ago. Now small multi. Yep. Same my old buy box, the move up home sit for 10 to 20 days. Everything else sells immediately. Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because that's a move up home, right? 4 bed, 3 bath, 5 bed, 3 bath, 25 to 3,500 square feet. That's a move up home. But yeah, entry level stuff in those markets flying off the shelves like it's going out of style. Yeah, for sure. All nighter hider. Want to share the good news? My dad is cancer free. All right. Good for him, man. Congratulations. I know that there's no better news than getting that news. There just isn't. Eliana is cancer free. Her scans show it and say it. So now we're just going after it on the molecular level with the radiation. And then we'll have monthly checkups thereafter. So yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. Good for him. Give him my best. It's at 1 hour and 38 minutes into the stream. So congratulations, sir. Matt Bittner, utilities are the tenant's responsibility in single family rentals in my area. Sometimes water, sewer, sometimes the problem that you can have with water, sewer is they cannot pay it. They cannot pay it. And forget about the getting them to pay it and getting it turned back on. If they're on it, you don't get notified. If they're on it, you don't get notified. At least in my towns. So they could have the water shut off in the middle of the winter. You don't know it. And burst pipes. There you go. With the water that's sitting in there, right? Yeah, I do not put water and sewer in my tenant's name. Not worth the risk. Not worth the risk. And that's where they find that you might have a leak or something going on. The tenant's not going to jump on that email. I will. They're not going to jump on it because they don't see it leaking in the basement. They don't know that it might be, in the ground after the meter. They don't know. They don't know what that means. So yeah, I don't do that. That would keep me up at night. Matt Bittner, if utilities are the tenant's responsibility, why would the landlord care? Yeah, so I don't electric and all that stuff that can be in their names because that's fine because they won't actually shut off in the wintertime, but we're in a freezing part of the area. So yeah, that's for what it's worth. That's why. Rich Boudreau, love the upgrade with appliances. Awesome. All nighter hider. My daughter listens to this show by default. Count her in. Very cool. Very cool. Rich Boudreau, last week you were renting out your properties. How did that work out? We had two that we kind of had stacks of people. We really had ours to choose from. That went great for those 2 units. They're in a town. One of the other towns, we stumbled a bit, I guess, maybe. We got someone, selected them based on their 3 prerequisites. They liked the place. Then they filled out the rest of the app. A couple things we didn't like. So we basically passed because we had a bunch of other people behind them. Found the same thing with the second one. And again, it was like, could I have let them? Yeah, I could have, but it's such a hot market. I don't mind going the extra week. They're not available till July 1 anyway. So whatever. And so we're doing it again this week. And so we'll see this week. If this week we have a problem, then I'll have to look and see what we might do. Because the rent increase is 25% on that unit. So yeah, so we'll see. So yeah, so it worked out well. Robert Fairley, as a person who works on data modeling software, what data modeling software do you work on? Because I actually used to do data modeling. Power Designer, CA Irwin, all that good stuff. Yeah. LV, teach me. AI being used for real estate market projections sounds like the fundamentals and statistics when accounting for variables. Yeah, the problem is there's gap, right? The variables are missed, and that's what ends up causing the kaboom. Because that's why literally Zillow had to write a check for 500 million bucks. They took a loss, $500 million. They were selling off massive chunks of their portfolio, 2,000 and 3,000 homes at a time, because Wall Street had the money, they needed to get it out, and they weren't going to rescue it. Quite frankly, if I were their CEO, I wouldn't have done that. I would turn them all into rentals, because they're in markets where there's a massive shortage of rentals. I would turn them all into rentals and taken all those people that were working on flips, figured out which ones we could keep and get them start renting those units out. And then you have a portfolio that makes you that much more wealthy than all of your competitors, because then at that point, you're the only ones buying into and then becoming a landlord. And because you really focused on 3 or 4 markets, you also have economies of scale. That's just me. Zillow, I'm available. I could have fixed the problem for you, saved you $500 million. All-nighter hider, awesome news, Matt. Yeah, it is. You know more than most what it's like to hear that. So yeah, it's a huge blessing for sure. Shamir, bless, happy for you and your family, Matt. Good that your daughter is cancer free. Thank you, Shamir. I really appreciate that. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. LV, teach me, all-nighter hider. Congratulations on your father being cancer free. Yes, that is the best news you can hear. Cash Flow Ramirez, there he is. Sup, real estate freaks. What's up, my man? How you doing? All-nighter hider, thank you very much. At LV, teach me. Yeah, we have good community here, folks. And that's why if you're a troll, I'll jettison you like a pod off of the, I don't know what ship that was in Star Wars that jettisoned the pod. I know one was a Star Destroyer, but that was an Empire Strikes Back. I don't know which one the first one was. I'll have to find it. Now it's going to eat my craw. What the heck? Yiko, for a contractor who is licensed to build a home from ground up, would that person get more profit in selling it if they their own used cash to build the home? Do you have any insight on that? Yeah. So most builders are building developments, ones that are doing like one building at a time. A lot of time they're funding it all themselves. Sometimes they're funding it with a bank, and it really depends. The thing that's great about developments is that you spread your risk over time. The thing that's scary about a single home is that you can get your butt kicked. And if you get your butt kicked, if you did it with your own cash, you could be in trouble. If you did it with the banks, you could be in even more. You could make nothing, especially if there's a downturn. So those are all possibilities for sure. Yeah. Togrin Hargett, what's your buy box right now, sir? Yeah, okay. What are you preparing for along the lines of future acquisition, single family, small multi, or larger apartment units? Do you see your market pointing at? Great 4 questions. What's my buy box right now? 2s, 3s, and 4s in 3 towns, and 5 to 20 units in those same 3 towns. Those are my basic buy boxes right now. I still look at other stuff, but my focus is really those 7 searches. Single family, no. Single family does not work in any of my areas. The only thing that I'll look at is inexpensive single family, and it's looking more for the zoning of the single family to see if it's something I can ADU or something I can add a second building on. That's the only thing that interests me about single family, because they don't cash flow in my area. Small multi, yep, 2s, 3s, and 4s. That's my buy box. And then a large apartments, it really just depends. Right now, cap rates are compressed. I don't love the debt that you get on it. You can get debt on it, but it's 6.75 or 7% debt. So I look at them, I run the numbers. I turned one down about 6 or 8 weeks ago that now looking at it, I probably shouldn't have. But that's okay. it was a nice deal. Wasn't a great deal. So it was a nice deal. But I could have done that deal and still not hurt my prospects on other deals. So that's what makes me kind of revisit that and say, nah, I probably should have done that deal. Robert Farinelli, planning analytics. Okay. Yeah, I love analytics. I love, but again, in healthcare, AI has a different purpose and it makes sense. It doesn't make sense in a lot of other verticals. Yeah. Chris Webb. Hey, Chris, good afternoon from Central Virginia. Absolutely. You as well. That's excellent news. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's great. I was going to do, in fact, she's even finally, it's funny. So for those of you who don't know, chemo actually stops tooth growth. So my daughter only had 2 teeth and she's over 1 year old now, or 1 year old. And so now she's getting like 7 teeth at the same time, because now that she stopped chemo, her body's progressing again. So she's getting like 7 or 8 teeth. She's getting hair back. She's got some stubble on the top of her head. So yeah, kind of crazy. See if I can get the baby in here actually. Eco, use, USC. I don't know. Sorry, Eco. You can ask a question again. Sorry. Do I need to make lowball offers because I never know the seller's circumstances? I don't think you make a ton of lowball offers, but if something's if something's a good deal and an offer turns it into a great deal, yeah, sure, why not? Why not? And even with, if it's something that they've owned for more than 10 years, you could even, float a 40, 50, 10 strategy at them. It might be something that works. It might be something that works for you. Yeah. Chris Webb, I've been seeing more and more posting about rising inventory. Are you seeing it in your area? I'm not. It's not happening where we are, sadly. Sadly. If anybody's charting my area, you're still seeing closings. They're still double digits higher than they were last year. Yeah, they're just ridiculous. They're ridiculous. Like 2 absolute pieces of garbage that were posted less than a month ago, sold for way over what they should have, and they were junk property. They needed $100,000 worth of work all day long, and people just way overpaid. Robert Farinelli, if I were daring enough to invest in West Manchester, what would be your advice? I feel like I got lucky with a nice area that won't happen again, talking to other people who invest there as well. Yeah, West Manchester's scary. West Manchester, that's where all the crime is. A lot of the drug issues in the city, from what I remember, back in like 17, 18, 19 timeframes. I mean, all the way back to like 07, 08. I would say it's the same advice it always would be. Just do all your research. Really feel comfortable with it. Your price per unit's less expensive. When you start to see it rival that of the better parts of Manchester, that's when you know it's getting too frothy. That's the market that I got caught in. It went from a strong C. It looked like it was going to crack B, and then it slipped all the way down to a D, to where it was a bad neighborhood and I couldn't get good renters. So that's what happened to me in that area. Yico at Chris Webb. How are the rental market around Chesterfield, Virginia? I don't know. Triple O, hey, Olufemi is with us. Good to have you. In one of your videos this week, you suggested to also track the closing prices of houses. How do I find the closing prices? So the closing prices are going to be same way that you would see in MLS. You would see it closed out. Usually there's an L and it lists the price. And then there's a C and it lists the price. The L stands for listing. The C stands for closed. You can also find it in Zillow because anything is public record. After that thing closes, it's going to show you exactly what it closed for. If you want to get nutty, you can. Deeds are public records. You can go look up the deed and see what the actual price was paid for the house, because that's going to report what it closed at, not what the house piece closed at. So if there were like seller credits in there, if you really want to go that far. But yeah, you can find it on Zillow or Redfin or any of those, or MLS. Like I said, L is listing at the top of the sheet. When you see it says L and it lists out a number, when it gives you a C, that will be what number it closed at. Keith Hager, every offer I make is an education. Ain't that the truth? Yeah, it really is. I don't want to waste my good broker's time. Like they're very busy. They're smart people. They work hard. So if I'm not really going to pursue something, then I wouldn't do it. But if you really have a good deal and that deal looks strong, if it's a good deal, try and make a great one offer. That I don't think you can, that hurts you at all. LV teach me. When rentals in a trust, is the rental income reported for the trust as opposed to an individual? Depends on how the trust is. Oh, excuse me, I'm just going to push away here. Depends on how the trust is set up. I believe our trust has the same social as mine. I think I'd have to double check. I don't spend a lot of time on that side of it because I have a phenomenal CPA and EA, enrolled agent, as well as an attorney. So they more just kind of walk me through it at that time. And then I don't manage that side of it very much because I pay people that are really good at it a lot of money to do that stuff for me. Robert Farinelli. So basically it's too frothy right now as some duplexes in West Manchester going for more than I bought my duplex in South Manchester. Yeah, that's what I got. I'm not sure it's the same exact thing. Maybe they've cleaned up that part of the city a whole lot better. Don't know, but that's where I got. It was a transitioning neighborhood. And then as soon as like that was the part of the city where people literally just stopped paying the rent. Yeah, sorry, give me a little PTSD running back through it. All-nighter hider. It may take a while for closing prices to be listed. I'm constantly waiting for the posted info. Yeah, it's true. It can take a few weeks sometimes. Yep, it can take a few weeks sometimes for sure. Hey, Matt Herbert. Hey, Matt, do you have any recommends for hardy, low maintenance shrubs or bushes when landscaping in a reno? I don't. That is something that I suck at. So, Matt, when you find that out, please tell me. Arborvitaes is the best I know, but those things can grow huge. However, if you're on a busy road, you can stick those in there and create a natural fence. I've had stuff on a busy road where I put the white vinyl out in front, then I put the arborvitaes on the inside, and then did like landscaping on the inside of that. So I've done that before. That cut down the noise pretty considerably for that property. But yeah, arborvitaes is the best advice I have because it's a nice, pretty bushy. They make a smaller version of them that are more round. But yeah, those have been decent noise canceling. They're green. They've gotten I don't remember, even last year they'd gotten a lot more expensive. So I'm not sure how that affects you, but I would try those. And if you get different news from a arborist, or from like a nursery around you, definitely let me know. I'd love to learn. Robert Fairnley, but not all areas of West Manchester are the same. Essex Street is not Kelly or Armory. Yeah, true story. Yeah, there are certainly some differences. Yeah, for sure. I mean, big city compared to everything else in the state. All-nighter hider, learn about private and public domain when endeavoring to be tax-free. Yep. All-nighter hider, PMAs or private membership associations are where it's at. Cool. I'll definitely talk to my guys about that. I'd love to learn that for sure. The YouTube channel You Are Law is an excellent channel for tax-free considerations. You Are Law. Okay. My kids took my pen and I haven't remembered to bring one back in the studio. Golly, that does kind of make me nuts. Anywho, yeah, You Are Law. Awesome. Thank you. Cassidy Ironman, what websites, apps do you use to check your markets every day? What does your process look like? Oh my goodness, that is a great question, Cassidy. It's really funny. I never get asked that. I get asked my buy blocks. So I have alerts set up in Zillow I have alerts through MLS just in case something gets missed. I have LoopNet. I use LoopNet for commercial stuff. What else? Once a week, I'll check all the foreclosure sites, auction.com, Hubzoo, Zome, spelled Xome, US HUD. So those are 4 sites that I check for foreclosures. I think that's pretty much this stuff online that I'll check. And then I'll talk to agents during the week, multiple agents, and I'll also talk to my bankers every week. I talk to my specific banker. I talk to her at least once or twice a week. I talk to a bank senior lender who's really kind of in charge of lending. I talk to them probably about once a month. Or if I have a question, I just pick up the phone. What else? My attorney, I probably talk to once a month. So that's kind of my process. My attorney once a month, unless we have something going on. Senior banker once a month, regular banker twice a week, brokers at least once or twice a week, multiple times. Yeah, that's. And then my contractors, I talk to my contractors probably a couple times a week. So yeah, always in the market, always talking to people, always understanding things, trying to get introduced to this person or that person, the next person, that sort of thing. Yep. That's what, yeah. Yep. That's my process. And let me know if that doesn't answer your question. I'm happy to further answer it. Robert Farinelli, as I have said before, I think the worst area has shifted to a few blocks south and east of downtown. Yeah, it could be. Could be. Yeah. Manchester's, 120,000 or so people. And it's been 3 years since I've done anything in that market. So I can tell you my market's inside and out, but Manchester, I don't know anymore. I can only give you knowledge that's 3 years old. So it's not very helpful. Chris Webb at Eco. I'm not sure about Chesterfield. I'm in Lynchburg, home of Liberty University. Yes. Chris, do you do stuff? Do you do rentals for Liberty? Eco at Chris Webb. Okay, gotcha. Thanks. Cool. Robert Farinelli, Bridge Street south to Valley Street, as far as Beacon Street, all the way to Mammoth Road in some cases. Sure. Yep. Shamir Bless. So Matt, do you send a flyer to landlords in your buy box? What do you like that you would like to purchase a property? I haven't done that yet. We have specific properties that I've reached out to the owners on, but they're specific. It's not flyers to everybody that's a landlord. We haven't done any prop stream stuff yet. We haven't done any of that stuff yet. We probably will. But we haven't done that stuff yet. West Manchester is still not great, just not the worst. I believe you. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I get the beat. I'm not sure if she's going down for a nap or she just got up for a nap. I hear her. Cass Iron, when you have these chats with folks beyond specific projects, what are you chatting about? What are the main topics? How do you avoid being annoying? Well, I don't know that I'm not annoying. I'm probably annoying to some of them. I always bring information when I ask for information. It's a information exchange. If you're only calling them asking questions, that's annoying. Bring data to them. bring data that you're seeing. Hey, I'm seeing X, Y, or Z. A lot of brokers don't think about that stuff or don't see that stuff. And so when you're bringing them data, guess what you just gave them? Something to talk about the rest of the week. So I'll say to them, something about rentals. Oh, I did this, or I did that, or I'm seeing this. What are you seeing? That's really helpful. It's an exchange of information, not just an interview. So my recommendation is always bring information. Don't be rude. Always bring information, and then listen to what they have to say, because it might prompt something in their heads. We're like, oh, I saw that X, Y, or Z. So yeah. So what am I talking about? Yeah, sure. Specific projects, specific rentals, areas. Hey, I rented out this property this week and holy cow, that number was nuts. Or I saw this property hit the market. What are your, that seems like a crazy number. What are your thoughts? So yeah, bring market knowledge to them. That way there's an exchange there, not just an ask. Relational, right? We're looking for relationships in what we're doing here. And so one of the things that I talk about often is if I'm always calling and trying to take a withdrawal out of the bank, people are gracious and they start you off with a balance, right? But every single time you call, you're taking a withdrawal. If you're never putting back anything into the bank, you're eventually going to overextend and they're not going to want to talk to you anymore. And they're going to start avoiding your phone calls. So yeah, my recommendation is be relational, bring them information, bring them data, and then listen to the data that they have back to start to formulate your opinions. And then the reason that you talk to 2 or 3 or 4, and then I also talk to other investors too. But the reason that you do that number is because you don't want to be jaded by one person's opinion, because that one person could very easily be wrong. People shouldn't just watch me, watching Mike, watching Dion. I know there's a lot of people that watch my channel that watch Reventure. Blows my mind. He gets your penny. But at the same time too, I like to watch some of his stuff because I like to see what crazy nut job thing he's come up with next. So yeah. So sometimes there's power in that as well. If I Rich Boudreaux, if I refinance and use the cash to purchase another house and then duplicate it again, is that not free money? It is. I've done that a lot. That's exactly right. Mike talks about the fact that he doesn't believe he has any of his original dollars actually still in his portfolio at all. Yeah. So that's what the only challenge that you'll have, Rich, is the only way that you can do that is if you have seasoned rentals that have the equity to do that on. It's the only way you can do it. But yeah, you can. Rob Farinelli. The only good thing I can say about West Manchester is it has the highest concentration of porcupines in NH. There's a good tenant pool that exists there. I didn't know that. Shamir Bless. So if you default on your mortgage and your properties is in a trust under you, does it affect your credit? I don't know. I'd have to ask. I don't know the answer to that question. Yeah, I don't know. I think so. Yeah, because I think that unlike an LLC, I am the credit in my trust. So yeah, I would think it would. I don't know that that's correct, but I think it's correct. But that's why banks slow down or charge LLCs more money to lend to, as opposed to a trust. My idea was I wanted the least expensive debt out there. I wasn't trying to, I'm not built in a way where I would let a business go. I fought through 7, 8, and 9. Whatever happens in the future, I'd fight through that. That's why my bank feels comfortable with me, and that I'm on the hook. So yeah, I believe, yes, I believe that would affect my credit if I defaulted. Ninja Vanish 247.
24/7. What do you think is the best sealant for indoor aggregate flooring that is porous? Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe look at Gaco, GACO. Maybe look at that product. That might help you. It also might be awful for what you're trying to apply for. But I would look at Gaco. I think Gaco is like a roof covering that waterproofs areas. So if it is porous, then this makes it non-porous. It's kind of like the precursor to Flex Seal. But check out Gaco, see if that's a covered use of it. That's a good one, Ninja. Good one. Chris Webb, I invest in Florida, but live in Lynchburg. I'm going to convert my primary residence into a rental as soon as I can. Yep. And it will be Liberty students. Yes, we will continue this until we move on from VA. Yep. Students, that's a big part of my business. You look at it and you see what they're paying for 7.5 months to live there, and they can afford to rent out your place at a premium for 12. Yep. Ninja vanished 24/7, so it's more spill friendly. Yeah, Gaco I think might be it. Yep, I think Gaco might Gaco, GACO. It was originally a product that was made to waterproof mobile home roofs because it was much less expensive than redoing the whole entire roof. So if waterproof is what you're going for, that's probably a good solution. Shmir Bless, you mentioned some time ago that you paid $300 to transfer. Yep, Tropperies into a trust. Does that change the note? Did you have to get a new loan? What did the lawyer use? What lawyer did you use? I used a regular lawyer. Not difficult. That's fairly straightforward. They fill out all the forms and they submit it to the state. I did not need a new mortgage. When it goes into the trust, it's just basically because I think if you're doing that with an LLC, then yes, because the terms are changing, right? That's something that I believe is they can trigger a mortgage call. But for a trust in New Hampshire, it wasn't. It was moved from my name into the trust's name. And like I said, that was about $300. It was regular attorney. It was really just paying for their time. So it was probably about an hour's worth of work would be my guess. Chris Webb, I'm working at LU while going to school and eventually I'll teach online for them. Very cool. This way I can move to different areas and still work my W-2 while building my portfolio in Florida. I love it. All-nighter hider, epoxy over a porous floor like a floor of pennies or a bar top maybe. Yeah. Epoxy. Yeah, epoxy can work too. Yeah, because that stuff can really harden for sure. Yeah, I wonder which ones. Yeah, I don't know which one would be a better fit. I've not done a lot of work with epoxy, in all honesty. But I would consider it. I've seen some of the like epoxy counters and things like that that are pretty good. But yeah, not much past that. I'm hearing Sam outside the door. My 4-year-old. My 4-year-old. All right, we're gonna try one last time, see if we can get the beam in here. Kids are having lunch, I can hear it. It's so funny. Yes, epoxy. Your mic is sort of going in and out. It's probably because I was talking softer. My voice is a little bit tired. We were very excited yesterday for my 3-year-old's birthday, and then all the shouting that we were doing at the bouncy house. Yes. Hey, thanks, Dion. Let's hit those like buttons. Unlike Dion, I'm good enough with you just hitting the like button. Even if you don't like my content. Could be. Here, is this better? Is that better? Yes. Is that better? I think I hear them coming. Whew. It's hot today here. It's like, what is it? Like 90? 85. Oh, so hot. Yes, hit the like button. See, well done. Cassie, is this better? Can you hear it better now? If there aren't any, wonderful. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Yeah, I just need to get behind that. Put some wood behind that arrow. Great seeing you on Uneducated Economist the other day. Yeah, Simon's awesome. He said he wanted to do another video. I love that guy. I'd probably annoy the daylights out of him if we lived closer to each other because I'd hang out with him all the time. I'd be like, hey, dude, want to hang out? Yeah, he's just such a good dude. I like him so much. I like doing stuff with him because I think so. He's a lot obviously on the economy. He's a lot on the building side, like actual materials. Obviously, he just bought a house in October, I think it was. And so, yeah, I love getting his insight on things. I think it's really a lot of fun. Yeah, I think it's really cool. But yeah, I think he's a great guy. I like working with Simon a lot. Really smart and fun. Just a good down to earth guy. We could sit down and hang out for days, I'm sure. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. LV Teach Me at the Untalk Financial Freedom. Thanks for the reminder. Oh, thanks, LV Teach Me. I appreciate that. Welcome to Alabama, 81. Yeah, really sweaty there though in Alabama. I bet. Robert Falinelli. Yeah, we skipped spring 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we had 38-degree morning. Yeah, we had a 38-degree morning 2 weeks ago. And then last week it was in the 90s. And then today it's in the mid 80s. It's like, come on, seriously. We really would have liked some spring this year, but we got literally, we got literally 2 weeks. Ugh, it was brutal. Anywho, Cassidy Ironman, I'm having my first child in July. Congratulations. You've been an inspiration to keep doing the work. You are awesome. And I really appreciate all you do to help everyone. I'm happy to do that, Cassidy. Congratulations on your baby. It is so much fun. And at the risk of being rude, I will say this. I think you're going to do an amazing job having that baby because it's what your body was meant to do. So just remember that. I know my wife was scared of childbirth. She's now had 3. And one of the things that we just constantly reminded ourselves of was that her body was made to do that. That's what her body was made to do. Like when you get pregnant, your body's meant to get that thing out. And so I think you'll do great. You'll do great. And the only other advice I would give you is have a birth plan and recognize that you might need to pivot and that's okay. So I'm sure you'll be an awesome mom. I think you'll have a great time and I think you'll do awesome. I think you'll absolutely crush it. I only have my wife's experience to go on, but she was awesome. She does a lot of time in the soaking tub and then goes to the bouncing ball to sit on for a while before it's really time to push. So I think you'll do great. But yeah, just remember, body was meant for it. You'll crush it. You'll do great. And then you'll be a mom. It's awesome. So congratulations. Robert Farinelli, lucky painting a door in my basement, which is 10 degrees cooler than my house. No AC yet. Yeah, ain't that the truth? That's all right, man. That means it's still 70 in your basement, which is still brutal. But yeah, better than 85. All-nighter hider. I met Simon organically after watching his channel for over a year. Oh, I met him through a fisherman I met in Alaska that knows him personally. Small world, buy properties. Cool. Congrats, Cassidy. I'm excited for you. Yep, all-nighter hider. Becoming a parent is when I truly learned what love is. Yeah, ain't that the truth, right? Ain't that the truth? If anybody else ever hit me in my sleep, they would probably die. But yeah, my son, when he hits me to sleep, he's just like, oh, Samuel, serious? And he slept through hitting me. I didn't. But yeah, sometimes our kids, when they have one of those nights, they'll do the climb in. It's fine. It's good. It's good. Oh, there's RE3. Cool. You guys are from the Uneducated Economist. Well, it was awesome hanging out with you guys today. I'm going to cut it short. You guys will do, Cassidy, congratulations. You'll do awesome. I know you will. You're going to go in, no matter how much reading you've done, no matter how much practice you've done, you're going to feel like you're not prepared. You're prepared. Your body is meant for this, made for this. You're going to crush it. You're going to do great. It's going to go awesome. So can't wait to hear the amazing story. Even though my wife's a nurse, just don't make it too graphic because I get the pukies. I can't do gross stories too much, but yeah, you'll do awesome. I have the utmost confidence in that. So you guys enjoy, have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. I'm going to go spend some time with my kiddos. Have my daughter remind me for 400 more times today that she's 3. She wore that out yesterday. Holy Toledo. Yeah, it's crazy. But have a great rest of your day, guys. Enjoy the weekend. Only do great deals. I'll be on Lumberjack. Landlord will be on Mike's channel on Tuesday. We'll do Three Amigos Thursday. Mike will be on Friday on my channel. And then I've got a couple other things coming up. Simon from Uneducated Economist, we're working on something, trying to get on the board for some time. So we're looking forward to that. Oh, Cassidy, you're the dad. Oh my goodness, guys, how funny is that? Oh, Cassidy, I'm so sorry. That's hilarious. Your body was not meant to do this. If you try and have that baby, it is wrong. It will hurt. Do not do it. Your girlfriend or wife is ready for this. So yeah, like the last 10 minutes where I'm encouraging you, just play that for your wife or girlfriend. Hopefully that helps. That is so freaking hilarious. I'm so sorry. I never see, I asked LV teach me, but I didn't ask you. I'm an idiot. Cracking me up. Well, at least I got you a good laugh at my expense. I'm fine with that. That's okay. Cool. That's so awesome. Well, congratulations, Dad. The only thing that I can teach you is patience, man. Patience. It's hard. Being a dad at first, it's hard. You love that little baby, but get used to exhaustion. But it'll be awesome. That's so funny. That's the best. You're the dad. Wife, girlfriend, does she watch with you? Play her the video, please. I need to have some redemption after all that. Yeah, my wife's awesome in childbirth. And she's always like, you're the best coach. And like, you know, ice chips and rubbing the back. If you guys didn't do like Lamaze or something like that, like make sure you're doing something where it's like there's like a pressure point with their hips and like right in their lower back where you're just, I'm like literally I thought my thumbs were gonna fall off. So yeah, way too much. He can do the chest feeding, I think it's what I've heard. Yeah, they actually have those things. They actually have like a get up where the man can actually wear a boob and that's full of milk. Yeah, so funny. That is so funny. That's a social argument now, man. He can be the mom, but he can't be the mom. It's got to come out and it's not in him now. So I think we should be good. Guys, thank you so much. But wife will do. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Be there. Yeah. I know you'll be there for sure. Unless it's during a Lumberjack live stream, then you can just have me play in the background. Just let me know that she's in labor. I'll encourage her along with you. Just I can promise you. So awesome. You guys have a fantastic week. Man, that's hilarious. I'm going to go tell Ashley now. That's awesome. Have a great week, guys. I'll be around this week. Yeah, you'll see some cool stuff posted. I'll let you know when Uneducated Economists, hopefully we'll do that in the next week or two. And then Ricky Caruth, check out that video with Ricky Caruthi and selecting an agent. Give me some thoughts and ideas. I'm doing a follow-up with him. So just give me some thoughts and ideas of some stuff that you'd want me to ask. Just put it there on that Ricky Caruth video and I'll look at it because it will notify me and then I'll reach back out to him. So I appreciate you guys. I'm happy to spend time with you guys on my Sunday. Take care. Bye, guys.